Hello, I am Asbestos, and I'm your host today from the Conclave of Aratar, bringing you some community information to help you decide on where you want to settle yourself within our ranks. We hold these casts every Wednesday at 8 and Sundays at 4 Eastern, and I encourage you to join in the Twitch chat to discuss the topics in the interview. For those of you who are new to the channel, we're a community gathered around the upcoming game, The Chronicles of Elyria, a game in development by Soulbound Studios. Now, if you think it to yourself, you're a little interested in learning more about this upcoming game, there should be a link below to take you to their website. Um, like I mentioned earlier, we, the hosts and the cast members of the Face the Conclave here, hail from the Conclave of Aratar. The Conclave of Aratar is a duchy within the Kingdom of Vornair, and we want to introduce you to some of the members of our community and discuss some topics about the community, the members, and the game, The Chronicles of Elyria. Joining us this week as guests are Mayor Baldrin Hammerfist and Sentinel Lodrig Valinson. If you guys would say hello.
Hello, nice to meet you all.
Hello, folks, and it's Seneschal.
Seneschal, yes. I gave everybody a warning as we started here. I'm do my best to pronounce our words, our language here, but if I make a mistake, they're gonna jump in and correct me. So yeah. So we want to give you guys an opportunity to let the community, let the internet know who you are, what you like, talk a little bit about the leadership potential styles that you guys hold, and then the kind of community you intend to run, along with information about when this game comes out, what type of decisions you're going to make, what type of settlement you're going to run, what type of county you're going to be in, what is going to entice individuals to come and play with you guys. Now, as I understand it, you both are hail from the county of Iskar. That's correct?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
So for those of you who aren't active in the Conclave of Aratar, don't participate in the forums, maybe you're just browsing Twitch or YouTube, paying attention to this. The county of Iskar is a group of individuals centered around a very common theme here. I'll give you 5 seconds to guess before they blurt it out. But what's your common theme, Baldrin?
Dwarves.
I've never heard of this word, dwarves. I know of the Harathi. Yeah, so the members of Iskar are all very very dedicated to the Harathi lifestyle, the Soulbound Studios, Chronicles of Elyria, dwarf archetype.
Yes. Just with a little more hair than what you currently have.
Yep, just a little more here. So starting out here, since you all enjoy playing that dwarven, that Harathi archetype, I wanted to get a little information about the types of games you play. You guys all have this common seed, and then I often imagine that common dwarven mentality expresses itself in a way that a lot of the games that you engage in as a community, fall into that dwarven archetype. Um, so this next section that we're going to be getting to is, telling us about, your gaming background. What are the games that you both play, Lodrig and Baldrin, and what you like about them, what entices you to play games like that. So if Baldrin, if you'd start out here, when you're looking to scratch an itch, what are some of those games that you kind of turn to that you've played in the past?
I would say most of the games that I'm really fond of are probably a lot of survival games. Um, uh, Games like Rust, Ark, Survival Evolved. I also like management games, so I like to play like management strategy games, and also like playing some shooters, some PUBG. Really like Rainbow Six Siege. I've been playing it a lot lately.
Now the So shooters, survivals, a lot of down to earth type things that you compete in one way, shape, or form with another person. Would you say you gravitate heavier towards those PvP or those at least low stress competition like environments?
Yeah, I'm definitely PvP oriented, but I also like playing uh, games that don't necessarily involve a lot of PvP. Also,
Now, your people call you the Goat Lord Baldrin Hammerfist. Where did that come from? What inspired the name the Goat Lord name here, or the name Baldrin Hammerfist?
Baldrin Hammerfist is a game or a name that I've stuck with for quite a while. Back in 2012, I used to RP a lot on Minecraft, and I think that was also around the time that The Hobbit came out. And so that's what really got me into like the dwarven theme. And with my character that I RP'd in Minecraft was named Baldrin Hammerfist, and so every game that I've moved through, I've kind of brought that character along with me. And the Goat Lord thing is pretty recent. Honestly, what inspired that was uh, in one of the extended editions of The Hobbit. There's a scene where the Battle of the Five Armies and the army of goats charges down the hill. That was part of it, and then the other part was Malvorn. He kind of he kind of sparked that in me because he goes by Horse Lord, so I figured I'd go by Goat Lord.
And I love that the inspiration behind your name, to some degree at least, comes from Token's work. Uh, yeah, no, that's interesting. That's great. So when you were playing Minecraft and then you were going under the alias Baldrin Hammerfist, were you a were you a deep dwarf? Were you a surface dwarf? We have there's an archetype out there in Minecraft communities about the dirty dirt dwarfs who build their houses out of dirt, and the deep dwarfs who, never see the light of day. Um, I assume you were the latter.
Yeah, I'm definitely a deep dwarf.
Yeah. So I want to give our friend Lodrig here, a chance to answer basically the same question. Lodrig, when you reach for a game, when you're looking for something to play, when we're searching for something to scratch that itch, what do you reach towards her?
Well, let me see. I've had a long history of gaming, and I'd say I've mostly been focused on strategy genre for the longest period of time, cutting my teeth on things like XCOM, UFO Defense, SimCity back in the day. Then transitioning into Civ, Civ 4 was a big one for me. I actually did a bunch of modding for that. And then from that, when I had a good internet, I'd do a little League of Legends, kind of for my multiplayer itch. That's kind of my speed. Never really much into the first-person shooter. And now that I'm on a satellite, I can't play those anymore. And I've been gravitating a little more towards city builders and roguelikes lately.
So
Decline games, Oxygen Not Included, Don't Starve Together have been pretty good to me lately. And so when I come into a game that is multiplayer, I usually go for more co-op focus.
So would it be an accurate assessment to say the things about games that you find intriguing or enticing are games and environments in which you can analyze and build a mental structure such that you're able to perform you enjoy the cerebral aspect of some of these video games with the city building, with the strategy like atmospheres where you're looking for things that mind over matter, or what is that
Yeah,
base nature there?
yeah, that is definitely the root of it. If you're familiar with the Bartel taxonomy, I am an explorer type. So for those of your viewers out there who might not know the Bartel taxonomy, it basically divides all players up in multiplayer environments into 4 broad groups: killers, explorers, socializers, and achievers, based on whether you are looking to interact with the world or impose yourself, and whether you focus more on the world or on the players.
Yeah, no, and I'm glad you bring that up. I mean that we're going to talk about leadership soon here, and the Bartol taxonomy is going to allow us a structure with which to interact with the different leadership styles. How do you make decisions that support the different areas of said taxonomy? But we'll bring that up in the next section there. So Lodrig Valinson. Um, is this a long alias? Have you had this for a while?
Yeah, I mean it's been a long. My oldest alias online was just Impaler for a long time. But when I'm in a more of a fantasy setting or anything that's like a medieval or anything that's dwarf related, I'll go with Lodrig Valinson, which is a name I came up for in a D&D campaign. It's basically just designed to be unique sounding and consistent with the Warhammer style of dwarf name conventions. Um, and it's just something I thought of.
Yeah, a child of your own mind. No, I love it. I love when real life matches fantasy or game. Hearing that it's something you came up with in a D&D like atmosphere and continue
Yeah,
to build
he's
and
always been a dwarf. The exact kind of dwarf he's been is varied around a bit. Sometimes he's an alchemist, sometimes a fighter, sometimes he's a cleric.
but always a dwarf. He stays
Yes.
stays close to the ground. Um,
Yeah.
no, but I
I
love it.
always play.
I love it when that fantasy mirrors well real life fantasy in this case. But I think that's a very interesting thing when you can continue to build the personality that you've established for years and years. Um, so no, this has been so far a discussion about the games you've played, what you've enjoyed, what you like out of gaming. We're trying to give the listeners a opportunity to understand what type of decision making you do and how you find enjoyment inside video games, because I think that plays in very nicely to the type of environment you run or the type of leadership you'll impose on the community around you. Um, Baldrin, you're a mayor. You're coming in with a settlement. Lodrig, you're just an Illyrian, but you have very strong ties. You're a representative of the county at the duchy level with Zerial there. So we wanna go over to a section where we start talking about the leadership principles that really guide your decision making. When I say what is a good leader, what does that mean to you? Where do you draw inspiration from? If we are looking back into history, do you see Abraham Lincoln and you think, that guy, he's somebody I would aspire to be like? Or do you look at other individuals, Steve Jobs, Hitler, Mussolini, other individuals, and say, hey, I might not agree with them, but they're closer to something that I want to role play. Um, so when I say leadership principles, what really guides your decision making as a leader? What is a good leader to you guys? Lodrig, if you would start out with this one.
Okay, well, actually, to specify, I really don't even see myself as so much a leader in the county as an advisor to the count. Lacking a town settlement of my own, and with my explorer focus, I always intended for my actual profession in game to be a cartographer, because I found the map making aspects of the game really enticing. I've always loved to make maps in the game. And to kind of supplement that, when there was no game to play yet, I actually did a lot of recruiting. And that's partly how I came to this position. And basically advising the Count where to go, giving him my feedback, being a sounding board for him, is what I do. And I certainly give him my opinions, but only when he asks for them, in those areas. I've done this a lot in a lot of games in the past. I usually don't want to be the person out in front. I'm kind of more the power behind the throne type person.
So you bring up a point there. So you've been very heavy in building the ranks of Iskar. We see Iskarians come in quite oftenly, daily, if not more at times. When you're looking to inspire people to come join your community, to join Iskar, to drink the Kool-Aid, to taste the community, as it says, and I think that's a representation
Sparkle
of
mud, you mean?
yes, taste the sparkle mud. My mistake. Yeah, no Kool-Aid in Iskar, tons of sparkle mud. If you don't know what sparkle mud is, viewers, I highly recommend you send a PM to Zerial, to Doran, and ask him. He'll give you the spiel on that one. But you've done you've put a lot of effort towards recruiting. What are the things that have helped you be so successful when recruiting? Because I think that's leadership right there.
Yeah, start off with, I myself chose Iskar County specifically because it already had the strong dwarven theme that our count had established. Doran, aka Zerial Zephyr, as he now goes by, and his strong commitment to that dwarven theme, a great underground city, smithing, the whole 9 yards of the dwarven theme, and that he was absolutely dead set on that, and that gave me confidence that I could go out, that I would enjoy it, and that I could then go out and sell people on that idea. This is a dwarven themed county. So almost all of my recruiting efforts were targeted at people who already had an interest in Herothi. On the forums, I would just look for anyone who was responding to Herothi content that was being released. Then I would go into the channels, the public channels, and just offer free beer, literally. Like, free round of beer for my Herothi brothers, and you'd find people that way. And I found a lot of the early mayors, and that actually most of the people you're seeing now coming into Iskar are being brought in by the mayors, like Baldrin, and we have got like 6 or 7 now at this point. I've actually mostly stopped recruiting at this point, so it's just the pyramid scheme at this point, going along and finding more people.
I love that, the pyramid scheme. You started rolling the rock down the hill, and now that it is moving, you're able to step away. And I mean, at the Conclave and Iskar, I'm sure, thanks you for that effort, that taking that first step to get those people in the roles that they're going to be satisfied in. So Baldrin here, we're gonna switch over to you now. Like when we were talking to Lodrig about leadership and what guides your decision making. For you as a mayor, how do you make decisions in a leadership role? You're gonna have individuals who are looking to you to solve their problems or at least give an opinion on them. What are you gonna think about?
Um, I usually use the aspirations of um, the people around me to guide my hand, kind of. So, you know, um, I expect that when we get into game, um, I'm pretty laid back in terms of I don't really like forcing people to do things that they don't want to do. I like, to let people do their own thing. But if things get out of place, I'll step up as leader and, put things where they should be.
So would you say that so you said you use the term "put things as they should be," um, and how forceful is too forceful? How, in your mind, if there is an issue that's affecting the community in your town, um, there's a line sometimes that's drawn in the sand. Where is that line for you? Is that at burning the settlers' village? Is that at holding town forums so that everybody has their voice heard? Where does that line fall for you?
I think it would be, you know, I think I would draw the line at the point to where it makes it makes the gaming experience of other people within other people within the town's gaming experience unenjoyable.
So,
So, you know, anything that would start to chase people out of my area would probably where I draw the line.
and that suggests to a degree that the individuals who are residents of your town are individuals that you find valuable, that are settled and established. Do you foresee that individuals who are not residents in your town will be treated any differently?
Probably not. I'd say we're a pretty welcoming bunch. Yeah, as long as you're not causing trouble, I don't see why you wouldn't be welcome.
Yeah, and I know that Iskar and the individuals that you've brought in, Baldrin, they're very social, very comfortable with opening doors to help their fellow neighbor to bridge some of those gaps that can occur when newcomers, when unknowns enter a community. And I think that's a good thing to emphasize. When we talk leadership, we like to bring up um, end goals. So leaders usually are the fuel behind large projects, big movements, individuals if you've tuned in the past, listeners, Tiberius Titus Magnus, one of his goals in COE is to run a Coliseum and an Oktoberfest. You know, I imagine as being a member of Iskar, being Harathi is very important to you, and there's probably some Harathi-like things that, whether they're mechanical, blacksmithing, or something of the like there, or something more cultural, holding beer parties, walking in and saying, "Hey, free beer for a day for the fellow dwarves." What type of goals do you have that you as a leader are going to help drive to the community?
Well, I currently have a group of guys in my settlement that want to start a school of sorts. So that's a big one. They're really interested in amassing and collecting, you know, uh, large amounts of books and just things to help out in the knowledge area. Um, and the other big one is pretty, militarily involved. I'm looking to create, uh, a large force of goat cavalry that I can take to our enemies if Iskar ever comes under threat.
Goat cavalry, the trompers of the mountain. I can imagine the fear on your enemies' faces as they hear the bleats of war goats crashing into their ranks. And if anybody, listeners, if you know anything about goats, they're ankly devils. Like they can get themselves in places that horses and people often cannot. So I've got this image, Baldrin, of your goat warriors coming down a sheer cliff face on I would say a haphazard charge. It probably looks haphazard. It'd be less haphazard than it than it looks since you're riding goats, but a rather chaotic charge into the side of an unexpected enemy. I love that imagery.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not really a baron, but I like to follow the big stick policy. So I like to have a lot of even though I'm a mayor, I'm going to have quite a beefy uh, set of defenses. So
So I'm going to throw up a slide here. It's your goals in COE slide, and while we're talking about leadership, and while we've brought up, leaders um, leading their communities into specific goals, I just want to give you an opportunity. So you talk about incentivizing community engagement and community input on how we can do better as a settlement or whatnot via the community job board. What does that look like? Like how do you expect or how do you lead a community into being engaged? How do you how do you inspire those around you to take time to participate in your local Discord or to do whatever it is that is a community objective in the game?
Well, I wanted to introduce something like a community jobs board to connect people together. So, say you had say you had someone in town who needed something, but there's too many people in the town for you to, uh, just find them right off the bat. So what you would do is you would just, post on the community board saying, I need this. I need this, I need nails, I need boards, I need this or that. And they would post it there. And then someone that has what they need would come along and see that and hopefully go and help them out. And there, you're building relationships that way.
Yeah, I need this. You can build me that. Giving somebody a direction, pointing them in a way that betters the community. I think that's a
Yep,
good
correct.
idea. Um, yeah, yeah, yeah. So we've been talking about, decision making, leadership principles, what you guys embody as leaders. And we're gonna transition here towards talking a little more heavily about your communities, your county, and the settlement that you have, Baldrin. Um, and we really want to get a feel here for the environment that you're supporting for individuals. Like you said before, Iskar is very heavy in the themes of dwarves. And I think that's important. Individuals who want to play dwarves or like that dwarven environment and lifestyle have a place to congregate. I like that word, congregate. Um, so we want to give you a chance, and I think we're going to start with Lodrig on this one, so he can tell us a little bit more about the county of Iskar and the opportunities that individuals can take advantage of as a member of the county of Iskar. So, Lodrig, if you can give us a short Iskarian summary, and then tell us a little bit about, if I'm a member or if I'm an individual and I say, you know what, Iskar is a pretty cool place. How do I get involved? How do you get people involved? What can I do? What can you to let us know there?
Yeah, of plenty of mayors in Iskar right now. We're not saying that we can't have any more either, but each of those mayors has a different take on, what's their dwarven focus. Some people are going to do more of a particular industry and probably have more a different style of settlement. More surface, less surface, more military, more less. But the overall dwarven theme will be universal. That's not to say that Herothi will be the only ones present. There may be some other races, maybe some Nerans or some Broodvir present, if that's what the rest of the Conclave ends up being, which is what we're suspecting. And everyone can pretty much do almost any type of economic activity in the county. We expect anything along mining, smelting to be heavy because there will be lots of mountains. That'll be the terrain. That also means we're probably going to be a little less surface farming, but there could be underground farming. And if anyone is interested in that, that would be a very an excellent thing to take up, because we definitely want to have every type of underground infrastructure that can be created. Tunnels through connecting multiple towns to each other, and possibly even outside into the broader Conclave network of underway type tunnels. Underground food stores, underground food production. I believe Baldrin even has plans to be able to house his goats underground in an emergency or during times of the year when they can't forage. Me, myself, because I don't have a settlement, I'm going to be focusing on cartography, trying to map the county, and prospect for mineral resources particularly, so that all of our then local people can develop those mines and produce profit from them. And then also naming all of our cool landmarks and mountains and rivers and whatnot with cool dwarven names.
Cool dwarven names. I love the idea of, cartography, both above ground and underground. Having a map of the different tunnel networks and caves that have been discovered and improved, and then that being matched to something above ground. And I'm gonna pick up on something you said down there, Lodric. You mentioned you want to be able to name significant features in the geography around Iskar, with strong
Yes.
strong dwarven names, right? And of course, the first thing that popped to my mind is, what's a stronger dwarven name than Lodric Valinson? Um, this is Lodric's nose. This is Lodric's shoulder. Here is Lodric's thumb. Right here is Lodric's belly button, and slightly below the belly button. Well, anyway.
Oh, I'm not going to be naming everything after myself. I'm actually going to be looking to go to our lore masters and local mayors and like have features named to cover everyone in the county. There'll be Silver Spear and Mount Gunzabad and things of that nature. I'm not really looking to put my personal name over everything in gold letters like like some people. But I want it to have a strong theme that is unifying and linguistically flows together. So whatever the Herothi script is and the translations and whatnot. So it's like these would be names that would make sense to Herothi, like this is this Silver Mountain or something. But for the other races, it's Mount Gulgad or something, So you have to be a dwarf or Herothi to know what the names mean.
Yeah, no, I think, and all kidding aside here, the the idea, what I'm hearing out of what you just said is that if there are community members who either discover things or want to be involved in cartography, you're looking for a team. You're looking for a team, yeah, of individuals to help make some of these names, these decisions, and engage in this environment. So, for future listeners, future watchers, if you're in Iskar and you would like to have a rock named after yourself, reach out to Lodric, and I'm sure you guys can come up with something together, right?
Yeah, we actually have another cartographer already. I believe he's with Feldenos, a recent recruit of Baldrin's, who is looking at scribe and cartographer a bit. So he may be a person who would copy maps, because I believe the mechanism in game to actually get features named to the point where NPCs will use the names is involved by making more copies of the maps in the world. So you have to sell your maps, you have to publicize your maps to get the name to stick.
Yeah, no. Um, so I want to give Baldring, as a settlement owner, a chance to tell us a little bit about his settlement, about his package, a little bit about the community and the environment that his settlement, the town of Feldnost, is that how you pronounce it?
Yes, that's correct.
Perfect. I'm gonna tally that down on correct pronunciations right there. But before we get to your explanation, a quick shout out, individuals who are listening, whether presently or in the future. There's a community member out there, Enigma, who is currently selling his services to do custom sigils. And if you're looking to do your coat of arms or get an idea about what sort of object represents your family or yourself in game, I think we definitely recommend you reach out to Enigma there through the Discord and you know give him something to do, or her. I guess I'm not sure which which gender it is here. I think Enigma's one of your fellows, right, Baldrin?
Yeah, it's a he.
Okay, perfect. Um,
Yeah, he's the cartographer.
he is the cartographer. That is
So
true.
this all goes along with his, scribe and cartography based orientation. He's a maker of symbols and manipulator of them.
A manipulator of symbols. teller of
Yes.
great truths.
Yeah.
So Baldrin here. What can you tell us about your settlement, your package? Obviously, you're going to be Hrothi. Obviously, you want to be in the mountains, unless you're one of those famed beach dwarves I've heard so much about.
Nah, none of those stinky beast dwarfs. Yeah, my settlement is mainly going to revolve around, I'd say, probably more agriculture than some of the other settlements within the county. Um, I think I'll also probably have a lot more above ground activity going on than a lot of the other settlements. I'd like to have a little bit of half and half, but probably more below ground than above ground. We're going to need a lot of land for the goats and such. So yeah.
Yeah, so you're gonna have those goats. Of course, you need some grass or some goat feed for those things. And you mentioned you want to be kind of like this half and half, this above ground, below ground settlement. I imagine that a lot of dwarf cities and pathways are underground. Does that mean that you are going to be a way for nefarious individuals to get into the Dwarven network?
I've actually thought about that, and I've actually thought against it a lot of the time, simply because yes, it's very convenient to be able to travel to other settlements underground, but if it's infiltrated, then it becomes more of a hazard than anything. So I'm still thinking about it.
So you're thinking, the settlement in and of itself may or may not be connected to whatever the superstructure in the dwarven county of Isgard is.
Yeah, correct.
Gotcha, gotcha. So I want to give a chance for you to talk about some of the attractions, some of the things about your community that are interesting. You've got Enigma there. Um, and he's going to be working on maps, on scribing, on things that use paper. As I understand it here, you want to have the largest library in the county. Is that true?
Yes, that is the objective of quite a few people within my settlement at the moment. They want to do this thing where they collect all the books that they possibly can and stock up a huge wealth of knowledge within Feldenos. And not only do they want to collect books, but they want to collect everything from different hides of different animals, seeds, blood, even different types of maybe fish, leaves, whatever. They want to archive everything possible.
Yeah, and I mean this is going to
So a
bring
natural history museum.
Natural History Museum, Natural Dwarven History Museum, or Natural Hrothi. So I see we keep using the word dwarven, and that's incorrect 100% away because I mean Elyria doesn't have dwarves, they have Hrothi. So a Natural Hrothi Museum. The Hrothi don't turn to stone when they die, is that? That's not correct.
I don't believe so.
Two dwarves, but we actually had a plan early on that if necessary, and this is not no longer necessary because it has been confirmed that the Hrothi can grow a beard, we were going to commit to a multi-generational breeding program to breed beards into the Hrothi if they didn't have the ability.
I'm kind of disappointed. I would have paid a few shillings to see you breed. Well, that putting it that way makes it sound awfully perverse, but um, watch the effects of you breeding in beards. I can imagine, first generation of beard growers. They come of age, and suddenly you see them standing in front of a mirror, straining really hard, and suddenly a corner of their face pops out a big thick beard, but the rest of it's all baby smooth, and the different iterations of beard growing there. No, you have to put him to slaughter. He's growing a patchy beard. That can't be for future generations. It sounds so barbaric, I guess, saying it, but as a dedicated beard grower, I think everything is worthwhile in the effort to grow a magnificent um, mock there. So you've got the Great Library going for you. You're going to be a half in, half out goat grazing settlement there, Baldrin. I hear that you want to make the Great Wall of Hammerfist. What is the Great Wall of Hammerfist?
Okay, so I want to be an extremely defensive settlement. One of my overall goals is to make sure that my settlement never falls. I don't want it to be taken over by anyone. So I have this plan where I'm going to encompass all of my domain in a giant stone wall to keep people from stealing things, specifically my goats.
And that would be your Great Wall of Hammerfist, right?
Yeah.
So here's a question. You know, the Great Wall of China was built, and there's rumors about it that the walls themselves contain the bones of thousands and thousands of slaves. You're not going to use slave labor for the Great Wall of Hammerfist.
No, but I'll probably use a lot of goat labor, though.
So rather than slaves, you're thinking goat bones?
Maybe.
Also, possibly Kipik bones.
That's also a possibility. There might be lots of embedded Kipik bones within the wall.
What's that cultural? You know, do the Hrothi and the Kipik, they don't get along, do they?
No.
No,
Yeah, the Kipik are our running gag here in Iskar.
Yeah, they try to be
The Count is a tinkerer, so we're going to create Kipik traps all over the place. Kipik motels.
Yeah, small Kipik motels, and there'll be signs outside each of these Kipik motels. You know, vacancy.
They Kipik in, but they don't Kipik out.
Yeah. So, you know, outside of the Great Wall of Hammerfisk, the library, and your goat stocks, are there any festivals, any events that you intend to hold there, Baldrin?
Yes, I'd like to hold festivals revolving around possibly the goats that will be breeding. Um, I'm probably going to have a lot of RP serious people, some of them in there. So I'm planning on kind of letting them organize that sort of stuff because um, it's been a long time since I RP'd. So
So you have individuals who are either taking it upon themselves or enjoy this, such that they are going to be coordinating these events inside your settlement.
uh, I'm hoping they will. Because I'd really like to have some RP events within the town because I think that would not only would that bring new people in, but it could also bring us together as a community. You know, get to know each other.
Yeah, so basically what you're saying right now is that if individuals are interested in RP, in the hammer fist in your city of Felnost, that they should reach out to you, and you can start the planning process now. Of course, without a game to play, without a world to enter, some of the energy that it requires to hold a festival is a little lower, but I think Jedzia has run a few little community events, whether they're inside the Kingdom chat or the Discord for the Conclave or on the part of the county that she's a part of. Anything to get community involvement, right?
Yeah, true. We are definitely going to be an RP friendly settlement.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, that really, I don't have a lot of further questions to ask you. I mean, we've gone through and we've talked about who you and who Lodrig and Baldrin are as gamers and the things that they reach for, the things that they enjoy doing, the games they've played in the past. We've talked some leadership ideas. You know, how do you solve problems? How do you inspire individuals? What have you done such that taking on those responsibilities, those steps to help a community? And we've talked about the town of Felnost and the goals and aspirations of these two individuals. Um, I haven't prepared much more than that for. I haven't prepared much more than that for this interview. Is there anything here that I'm missing that you two would like to talk about?
Uh, well, my town is actually a split town, or it's a twin town. So
Yeah, are you sharing this town? We have a slide here for you and Deplo. Is this two different settlements that
I
share a common border, or is this something that one settlement and you're sharing responsibilities?
well, actually, we've developed sort of this symbiotic plan. Um, I'm going to be a raw resource producer, so a lot of raw resources will probably come from my town, and we'll plan on hopefully he'll be close enough for this to actually happen. But I'll produce a lot of the raw resources, grains, stuff like that. Send it to his town, and his town is primarily going to be an industrial hub. So he'll have all the tools to process all of the goods um, into things, and he'll also be the main trade hub for both towns. But uh, government stuff happens in Feldenost, and we're actually trying to share like the same treasury for both towns. So we're wanting to put all of the money in being held in my town.
Yeah, sister cities, shared responsibilities, and symbiosis between the two. I like that Feldenost is going to be a supplier of an industrial area, allowing you to specialize in those roles, those the things that people would like to do in that regard, and then being able to have a partner that like Belagast, who's going to take those resources that you have and bring some new ones in as needed, but also to allow for the manufacturing of tier 2 or tier 3 goods, such that if you need to build a sword. So I guess I'm going to take a step back here. The developers of Soulbound Studios, when they talk about crafting, um, the information that they've given us thus far is very in depth. In some games, you take a iron bar, some flux, some leather strips, and you do things, and suddenly you have a sword. As far as Snipe Hunter is concerned, they want to take a more tiered approach to this crafting world, such that an individual will have to smelt their iron out of ore, and then take that ore and make a blade, and then combine that blade with a subassembly from another crafting tree, like building a pommel or a grip out of something that's cast, or something that is prepared elsewise. What's your guys' take on those crafting mentalities?
Um, I really like the crafting approach that SBS is taking. I think it you know I think it gives I think in a lot of MMOs that we see today, there's really nothing that gives value to being a crafter. I mean, sure, you can craft all this and that, but in the end, it's not really going to be better than anything that you'll get in like a raid or a dungeon or whatever. So you always see like the marketplaces in these games like filled with all this useless stuff that's made by all these crafters, and it's like, well, I mean, why make it if it's of no use? So I really like that.
Yeah, there being real value with the goods that are created, them being the primary
Yeah, it's
source.
definitely the most innovative system I've seen in years or ever for crafting in a game.
Yeah, and I think we're going to stay tuned. Sometime in the future, we'll probably hold a video breaking down some more the facts of crafting as we know them. Our High Elder of Knowledge, Utogi, is very dedicated to coordinating and consolidating said knowledge of crafting and game mechanics. So we expect to see something different in the future there. Um, Yeah. So, sorry, I had to stop for a
I
second.
myself don't know if I'll take any particular crafts, but it's likely that I might develop one maybe as a winter hobby, during the time of year when my ability to go out and explore the wilderness is not good.
That is true. That is true. Um, but yeah, no. Is there anything else that you guys are interested in that you want to plug right now? Any community event, anything that you're anything you wanna let the world know about, I guess.
Uh, I think you covered everything for me.
Well, I would bring up another point, or maybe just kind of go into my character a little bit. Um, I'm actually going to model him on Tom Bombadil. So I'm going to be wandering the land, singing, and basically visiting all of our towns and keeping them informed, helping to deliver and fix problems and basically be available to all of our towns as a resource, to have the count's ear. Obviously, if you don't want to just message them on Discord, but to help knit the community together. Providing the maps, providing the information, and then even traveling beyond the county borders, um, bringing in diplomatic contacts in adjacent counties, um, conclave level representation, that kind of stuff. And I'll probably do a little gathering along the side. Any game where you can gather stuff, I just hoover up whatever I pass by and then dump it at base for other people to worry about. So I'm looking for someone who can maybe be an herbalist to partner with. They can give them all the herbs. They can make stuff with it.
I love the reference to Tom Bombadil. So basically, you're saying if anyone finds themselves in a burrow den, um, that you'll come whistling in. Um, no, I like that. A
Yes.
wander. Some say a deity, some say just a man, but Tom Bombadil is his name. No, I like that. That's good. Um, just a quick shout out before we end the stream. The Searing Plague event is going on currently. If you're not involved, log into your Chronicles of Elyria account and see if you are infected. There's communities, discords, groups um, that have rose up around this event that Soulbound Studios is holding, and they'd love to cure you of your plague or consolidate your plague. There's two paths we can go down with this event, and those are the paths of plague and the paths of cure. The path of plague, of course, will doom the world to the worst epidemic the Elyria has seen. Um, and the path of the cure, of course, is to stop this epidemic and prevent further harm to the world of Elyria. This event in particular will have effects on the game world, the creation of potential creation of a plagued land, the potential lore and history that results from the plague having occurred and having been stopped or not stopped at a certain point. So, if you're interested, if you're involved in the Chronicles of Elyria as a game, I definitely recommend going out and logging in basically. Becoming active in the community and achieving one of the two goals, whether that's the plague or the cure. The world hangs in a balance, and you're the feather that can fix it or fade it to die. On top of that, another shout out to Enigma here, who's been a constant watcher. And if is there anything else that you two have? Otherwise, we're gonna go right into our goodbyes. Alrighty.
I would mention that Iskar is close to 30 members right now and still growing. So it is one of the most active, well-developed counties in the Conclave right now. It's right up there with the top tier ones. and we're active in this plague event. Most of our active people are at Tier 2. We've cured a few people in the county as well, with the help of the Conclave and the Kingdom, and we're ready to do more.
Yeah, yeah. And you remind me. You say you cured people. Yeah, there's the curing, which is a in-event occurrence, and you also have the opportunity through this event to, gain a free copy, free access to the Chronicles of Elyria as a game. So if that didn't sweeten the pot, I don't know what will. But we're going to go into our goodbyes now. So, just a reminder to our listeners that we, the guests and the hosts of Face the Conclave, we hail from the Conclave of Aratar. Um, if you or a friend of yours is a part of the Aratarian community and you wish to have a similar spotlight for your group, your school, your organization, your town, or your county, please reach out to Jadzia for scheduling. Now, if you have a topic you'd like to talk about with the Illyrian community at large, maybe it's crafting, maybe it's politics, you want to talk about the economy, maybe you want to talk about stabby deviant lifestyles or stabby PvP lifestyles, reach out to me, Asbestos, and we can put something together in a media form if you're interested in participating in a community video about the Syrian Plague event. Uh, if you're interested in participating in a community video about the Syrian Plague event, please do reach out. Um, and we're going to put something together. So just a reminder for our listeners, whether they're present or in the future, we hold these casts every Wednesday at 8 Eastern and Sundays at 4 Eastern, and I encourage you to join the Twitch chat to discuss the topics in the interview. This has been Face the Conclave. I've been your host, Aspicis, along with our guests, Mayor Baldrin Hammerfist, and Sessionel Lodrig Valinson. Goodbye.